Welcome all. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. We got this nice impulse up, so we're looking for some sort of a correction. And then we can look for a buy. On the H4, we had the 5 up. We got a nice impulse down. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, a B, and a C up in here before we get that larger A, B, C, and then we can start to look for buy setups. So I'd be looking at some sort of a structure like this if you was going to scalp on the lower time frames. AU on the daily, we had this bull hidden in here. It's a lot smaller correction than this wave too, but we did go up and we have broken the top. So I'm waiting for this wave 4, and then we can trade longer term for that wave 5 up. In the medium term, it's well, you can see it's very much bullish. It's just breaking the top here. I was looking for something there. So it's broken out of here now. We do have like 3 down in here, like 1, 2, 3. It's breaking out. So if you get anything on the lower time frames, you could look for a buy, mainly just a scalp. GU, very similar to AU. Here we're looking for more upside. We have this A, B, C here, come down to the 100 fib. So I'm looking for the A, B, C. Excuse me. On the H4, we have a nice impulse up from a low. We've got a correction. I was looking for it in here. Very similar to AU. It did come down again and try and give us another lower low here. This one didn't. This one didn't give us that lower low like AU did, but it's broken out. It's already broken the top, which is not ideal for scalping, that's for sure, because this can just come straight back down now. We already have 3 up, so but if you get a correction, you could look for a correction in here, and then you could look for a buy. Other than that, for a sell, I'd want this to come a nice impulse down, breaking these lows, and then giving you a correction, bearish correction, and then you could look for a sell. EU very similar to GU on the daily. We're looking at that A, a B, and a C. H4, we're actually looking for this wave 5 here. So on the H4, I am looking for a wave 5 up here. This one looks quite nice. On the AU, we got a nice impulse up from a low. We're sort of getting an A. If we get a B wave and a C down and then a bullish setup, you definitely could look to buy. And again, for the sell, you definitely want that low broken, and then you're going to get even more bullish divergence and all the rest of it. So I'm only really interested in a buy, but we need a correction in here first before we can jump on a buy. NU's very choppy. Hasn't really been playing nicely on the daily, but we did get that A, B, C come down. I sort of am looking for an A, B, C in here, and then possibly more downside. But medium term, I'll be looking for upside. This is very much bullish here, very similar to last week. Been looking for buys. This one hadn't broken out yet, but it does have a nice impulse on the H1 from a low. Yeah, we just broke this top up here. We just broke this top here over here. So if we do get a nice correction in here, again, we could look for a buy. Sure what happened to me pen then, but get a nice correction in here, we can look for a buy. But again, we got to wait for this correction. We've got to wait for some sort of a correction of this impulse here before we can buy. GY, sort of looking for this. We got this nice A wave down here, and then we got this WXY. We're looking for an X2 and then a Z up. There was a chance that we get like a WXY, X2, and a Z up here before we get that A, B, C. As you can see, the market's really fallen over here. We have been looking for a sell, of course, in here. Did try to go in there, but it went and broke the top. This B wave in here did go and break the top. So I wasn't really expecting such a very impulsive move down so far, but yeah, that's what it's given us. I was just expecting like an A, B, a C, and then possibly more upside, but it really fell over here. So we really need to watch price action within this wave, within this impulse here. We got to wait for a complete correction in here before we can look for a sell or a buy. Um, so ideally, because we got a nice impulse down, we'd be looking for a bearish correction, and then we'd look for at least 3 down. But, there's nothing there yet. You'd just be scalping on the lower time frames into this correction. So yeah, there is no complete correction in here after this sharp move down. So it's just scalping. UY is very similar to I've been saying, you've got to be very careful. I've pretty much been leaving it alone. We got the 5 up in here, and I'm looking for this one down for this A, B, C in here. Then we get an A, B, C before we get A, B, C before we get possibly more upside. But this one here, we definitely can look for a sell here. We broke the top on this one. We broke the top. We got all the bearish divergence. We got a nice move down. Nice sharp move down. So if we get a correction, we can look for a sell for at least a C down. CAD, USD CAD. We got the 5 down in here. Excuse me. But this has come. We sort of. Well, this is on the lower time frame, so I'll go down to the lower time frame. But we were looking for a wave 5, but a couple of weeks ago, you would have remembered when I said, if you follow me, this wave 4 has come into the wet territory of this wave 2, so we're pretty much leaving it alone now. Was looking for like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 up, but this has started to come into this territory of wave 2 a couple of weeks ago. So now, as I mentioned, well, a couple of weeks ago, at least, the only way we can really sell this now is if this low here is broken, then we get a correction, and then we can look for more downside. But until all this happens, I would be leaving it alone. Like I said last week, wave 4's in the territory of wave 2. It's just about breaking this low. It still can give us a wave 5 up, but it becomes very risky. We'd have to be looking at this as some sort of an ending diagonal. If you're looking to buy from here, yeah. So, I mean, you could look at it as an ending diagonal when we do go up from here, but yeah, mm, you'd just be scalping buys at this. Well, you wouldn't even be scalping buys yet. There's no bullish divergence even on the H1. So, yeah, I dare say there's more bearish, possibly more bearish. Well, on the real lower time frames, you may be getting a buy in here to scalp buys, but yeah, yeah. USD, Swiss franc. I mean, this one gave us a higher high here too from a low on the daily. It went up and broke that top, but like I mentioned, well, been mentioning, this looks very corrective. All this was looking very choppy and very corrective. It did go and break this top over here, but yeah, really got to be careful with this now. We sort of have already starting to get three down here. As you see, I was looking for a pullback and then more upside. Well, I was looking for a buy in there actually, which I did take. Well, I bought down here somewhere, around here. Um, didn't quite get to the 100 fib, but as you can see now, nice impulse down. So if we get a bearish setup, you could look for more downside. EG, I'd be leaving alone. This is it started out really nice. We were looking at this leading diagonal here, 5 up, A, B, C, and it never went. And it's just messing around in, a range in here. Um, it could give you another one up in here. Keep on doing this for a while. I'd be leaving it alone. There's really not much on it. It's not worth risking trading. It's not worth risk trading on this pair. We had that nice A wave up in here and then an A, B, really deep expanding flat. And this one did get up to that 100 fib, this A, B, C, and as you see, it's fallen over again. So yeah, I would be leaving it alone. Yeah. WTI, it's pretty much playing out how we're looking at it. Looking at this, this A, B, C, and then possibly go up and break the tops. That looks like what it's going to do here. I didn't really like this, the actual correction, because this B wave never broke the starting point of this A wave, and this C wave never broke the ending point of this A wave. So it's not ideal. You know. So yeah, ideally now it does, this is the A, B, C, and it goes up and breaks the top. But it wasn't the best correction. We were looking for that correction for a very long time. This A, B, and C. There was other excuse me, other opportunities to get in it. This was the first one. Now we are getting three down in here with a bull hidden. So you can look for buys on the lower time frames. It's still looking very bullish bearish in here though. For me to buy it, I'd want a nice sharp impulse up, breaking these highs here, giving us a nice correction, and then I could look to buy to go and break the top. This is looking rather bearish. It may be something like this, and then over here, and then we get another one down. So this isn't looking very bullish at this stage. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames and see what sort of correction you're getting in there, if it's bullish or bearish. But yeah, gold, we got the 5 up on the daily. It's really down onto the lower time frames. Looking at this A, B, C, it went up to the 100 fib, but it even got to the 123.6, the target. But yeah, now we got to be quite careful because I am looking for that larger A, B, and a C down now. I mean, there was a buy on this too, but it's already played out. So on the lower time frames, we had a nice impulse up in here, got a correction, and it's already gone up and broken the tops. Now we're getting bearish divergence, so it's more than likely bearish. Silver's very similar to gold, very similar structures. This one here was very much more bearish, so this like rising wedge here that we were getting, it's broken out of that quite a while ago. But yeah, I mean, this one's more actual bullish. We do have a bull hidden in here. So these lows over here wasn't broken over here. So this can actually give us another one up. For some sort of a correction, like an A, all this is a B, and we get a C here. We get a flat before we get an A, B, C. So if I was looking to buy out of gold or silver, I'd probably be looking at this silver because it's a lot lower levels than gold. As you can see, gold's right up the top of the market. So yeah, you could go down to the lower time frames and look for buys. There is no, it's already given the buy setup like gold did. This was flat in here, and it's already gone. If you get another correction, you definitely could look for a buy. They put like an A, a B, and a C. Bitcoin, again, this is very bearish. It's looking like this over here. We've been saying this. Well, I've been saying this for probably a month or more now. This is looking bearish. Be very careful buying. Really like to see this low over here broken, and then we can start to go down to the lower time frames and look for a buy. At this stage, because this is very much could be bearish, like this. Got to be very careful buying, with this trend here. Be very careful. There was a buy in there on the lower time frames and that, but this does look like possible flat here, so you get another one. Excuse me, another one up. But yeah, I mean, this does have a bull hidden here as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if these tops aren't broken. It's just scalping the buys. I'd be more interested in, getting this wave up here, completing that bull hidden, and then get a nice sharp move down and a correction, bearish setup, and then we go down and break the low. That I'd be more interested in a sell setup. S&P 500, nothing to see here. It's gone up and broken all the tops, which is fine. This is still a wave 5. It's already hit the second target on the weekly, like that 161.8. We were looking at this, as a possible scenario that expanding flat there, and it's all played out. It's right up the top of the market. There are no sell setups on it, so we have to wait for a correction of this move here before we can look for more upside. Unless you're just going to go down on the lower time frames and start scalping, buys. Ideally, I would like to see a nice bearish setup. We're getting all this bearish divergence. So really, I mean, there's probably something I'd be, on the H1, for example, I'd need this low here to be broken and then give you a bearish setup, and then we can look for a sell. But on the M15, we may actually be getting a sell here on the M15. I don't really like the price action here so much. It does look quite choppy, but we did get a lower low here. Excuse me, over coughs. But if we get a bearish setup, I'd be looking for a sell. I'd be more interested in a sell, but this is quite choppy, as you can see. It's not really convincing. It's not impulsive, this wave. So yeah, be very careful with the buys and the sells at this stage. AU200. Yeah, I was looking for this one to go up and break the top again too. So we're getting a correction. So we've been looking at this in here. This like A, we get a B. And we do have this bull hidden here as well. We are, well, if I go down to the lower time frames, we did get a nice move up in here. So this is starting to look very, like a bullish correction. So we can look for like just an A, B, C. I'd only be looking for that A, B, C though, because there is a possibility that we do get a bear hidden there. We just get an A, a B, and a C, and then more downside. So, but you definitely could start to look for a buy on the lower time frames. Yeah, I'd be more bullish on it. Yeah. The FTSE. Well, we got this nice wave up in here. We really need a correction. Like we got a sharp move down here. We sort of have an A, we get a B, we get a C up, and then we get an A, B, C, a larger correction on the daily before we can really look for longer term buys. I wouldn't be looking for longer term buys here, for example. I'd be just looking for a C up. Just like an A, a B, and you definitely can buy this just for a C up, just to break these tops. If you're lucky, it takes off, it breaks all the tops. But yeah, very similar to AU200, really. We do have a nice impulse up in here. Had a correction. It's already gone. You'd have to get down onto the lower time frames now and see what's going on in here, whether you can look for a buy or not. This may be a head and shoulder, like shoulder, head, shoulder, and head. We'll take off there, but yeah. Lastly, the DAX. This is looking very much bullish too now. This one already gave us that ABC, this ABC here, and it had that ball hidden as well here. Well, this was always going to go up and break that top, but it gave us the ABC. There was this one here. I mean, there was a chance that we get some sort of double, well, a 1, 2, 3, a wave 4 in here, and a wave 5 down. This one sort of did take off. It's rather choppy, but I'd be following the other indices and looking for a buy. I mean, this does look very corrective in here. So I'm going down to the lower time frames and looking for an entry. So we got a nice impulse up. So we want a correction. If we get a nice correction, well, then we can look on the lower time frames for the buy. So I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.